it wouldn't be a user conference without talking to fellow industry professionals. And when I say that, I mean, there's some that have been around forever. And we got Greg Iverson with Koch. Greg, I mean, you are a pillar of this place.
Being around for me, been around forever. You don't make me sound that old.
I know, right?
I mean, you make old look good, though.
Silver fox.
I appreciate that.
I mean, come on. We've seen and talked to each other over the years. You're definitely one of those people that when I'm in a room and I see an opportunity to have a talk with somebody, I know I'm going to walk out of there knowing more than what I walked in with.
I don't know if it's important stuff, but it's something.
Right.
Yeah, I actually started driving in 1980.
So was that weird? Like you just started driving, and then like immediately after you started driving, the Motor Carrier Act of 1980 happened. Like so like you thought you knew what you were doing, and everything just got
Turned
different.
upside down.
Exactly. So I worked for a little company in Minneapolis, and I started driving a straight truck. And then one day, the guy that drove the tractor trailer called in sick. So the owner said, take that load of paint down to the construction site. And I said, I don't know how to do that. And he said, like trucking owners do, the F in the truck and go. I said, okay. And then I learned how to do it. And then I got grandfathered in like I knew what I was doing.
My father went the same way. So it's funny when you start hearing people that have been in this a long time and how it was versus how it is now. And so you're over at Koch. I mean, tell us a little bit about Koch and what you do there.
So yeah, so I've done some other things in the career. I managed a Teamster fleet in Minneapolis. I've done safety and operations, and then I kind of settled in. Koch called me one day and said we had an opening for a recruiter. And I said, okay, let's talk about that. So I was going to get hired, and then about a week before I was supposed to start, they called me and said, hey, by the way, how'd you feel about running the department? And I said, seriously,
It's trucking.
seriously. And I said, what? I remember the conversation where I said, I haven't done a lot of this. And they said, no, it's good. Come on, take it.
It's easy. We just hire people.
Yeah,
It's not like there's entire conferences that cover this thing.
right. So I went and which was really kind of cool because I could take everything right from the ground and make my own program.
And you did.
And we did. And, I kind of settled in. I wasn't sure I was going to stay in recruiting, but I kind of found a spot. And to me, it's about, I feel like I'm bringing guys to a good home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men and women.
Yeah.
Recruiting can change people's lives.
Well, it can, for the good or the bad. I mean, if you do it wrong, you've changed someone's life because they've made a choice to buy into what you had and they didn't buy goods. And if you do it right, you're forming relationships. Like I hire people for a living now too, and I drove, and I still talk to them. They call me. They talk about their families, wish me happy birthday. I mean, there is things that happen when you do this right that is so rewarding. And it goes back to how I introduced you, just my conversations with you. You're a very genuine person. You don't mind passing on wisdom to people. It's not like, hey, this is my Big Mac sauce. You don't need to know the rest of it.
There's no secrets out here.
Oh, but I think there's also a lot to be said about you being able to sleep at night. Like I know me personally, spend time as a recruiter. You guys have obviously in recruiting, or even like one time I went to go shoot a video for a company and I started interviewing the owner and I saw the conditions of the drivers and I was like, I'm not making this video because no one should land here. So you actually feel like you're at a company where you can sleep at night, knowing like you're putting people at a place that you think is okay.
I'm glad it's because I've used that phrase a lot of times. I like to sleep at night.
Yeah.
So you have your credibility and your ethics, and I like to sleep at night.
So one of our conversations, and it's a constant point when we have various conversations about various topics, is the retention over at Koch. I mean, not just on the driver's side, but in the office side, in the recruiting department. I mean, we've had these conversations. People are trying to figure this out, and here you're open book to people. They have conversations with you all the time, and they feel much like I do. I mean, tell us a little bit about that.
So I've been around there 18 years. And we've got fleet managers that have been there 30, 20. I think the average of our fleet managers is probably 10 years there.
One of the things that stands out, and I know I'm going to hit you left field here, was you haul fun.
We kind of settled into a niche where we haul specialty items, boats, four-wheelers, golf carts, ATVs.
Nice.
And it's all, and for the drivers, it's a lot of it's a little physical stuff. It's not for everybody, but it's fun. These guys
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff.
I turned to you for advice when I needed it. So if you wanted to give our drivers advice on you're talking to a recruiter. What should you be paying attention to? What should you be asking them?
If a driver was calling my company, well, what I tell drivers to do is ask about, like you're just talking about, the stability of the leadership team. It's because what's the thing we bust down our drivers about? Jobs, right?
Yeah.
Number of jobs. And I always tell them, turn it around, talk to the company, see how long has your recruiting manager been there? How long has the fleet manager's been there? How long whoever you want to talk about, and you should talk about the recruiters. How long have they been? Figure out if it's not stable inside.
You're going to be stable outside.
You're not going to have a good time.
It's not going to end well.
When you're talking to a driver, you said flip the script. Ask them, what's it look like inside? But if you had to pick one thing that if a recruiter did, a driver should just abandon ship, what would it be?
People talk about the recruiters. It's a conversation. Sometimes driver or recruiters will misspeak. There's people say it's a red flag. I don't know. It's some of that's just conversational stuff.
So in my experience, like being a driver and a recruiter, we all have our pet peeves. For me, what it was if you told me, if you were bold enough, if you didn't say nothing, I didn't hold it against you. But if you were bold enough to say, I promise you I'm going to do this. I'm going to call you tomorrow. And you didn't call tomorrow? Hey, guess who's not answering the day after?
Right. That's fair.
You mentioned earlier something about flipping the script. I heard down the grapevine you had some questions for our gentleman on the podcast. Would you like to ask them?
That's not how this works.
He said he wanted to flip it around.
I was kind of, I like to do it ahead of time because I like to know who I'm talking to and, and questionable audience.
Yep, that's fair.
But what's your walk-on song?
Should I stay or should I go by The Clash?
Back in Black.
Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On.
Maybe somebody throw out Celine.